I think we are live. Okay, welcome back to our workshops of the Bach Cello Suites on IDAGIO Live. It's wonderful to be back with you. I would like to, to apologize in a way that I have been quite irregular these past weeks and months. And thank you. I'm very touched when I get messages from you saying, so what's happening and why and all this. And the reason is that in these very strange times, well, there was a little window of not normal life, but of at least of concert tour life between September and October, where I was quite busy again and starting to teach again, and and for that reason, it was sometimes difficult to combine with these workshops. I hope to get more regular again in the next weeks, so you don't have to unexpectedly wait a long time between two movements, particularly in the middle of a suite, like right now. Today we will talk about the Sarabande from the fourth suite, and my guest will be Alexandra Scheibler. She's a wonderful musicologist, somebody who knows so much about music, and who is so passionate about music, and that's what we need here. And she is the founder and artistic director of the Montreal Bach Festival, a wonderful festival, which I think will take place this year also in a different form. Yes, and she will be our guest in about 15 minutes after I talk a little bit about the Sarabande from the fourth suite today. Before we get to go into the subject, really, I just want to tell you a little anecdote which I found very touching and which somehow brought together the two worlds, the worlds of the confinement in which, as a one little positive side, I took the initiative to start these workshops, and I got such a wonderful response from all of you. And so this is something I cherish, and I am very grateful to have this experience with you and to get your questions and all this. And so I had this little experience when I was touring in Italy 2 weeks ago. And I was playing in Firenze, and after the concert in Firenze, a young man came to me and said, I am Alessandro. I am the Alessandro who sent you questions for your Bach workshops. And it was so wonderful to see an enthusiastic young French musician and to see him in person. He is someone I had communicated with through these workshops by reading his questions and by trying to answer them. And then seeing him after this concert in Firenze was somehow, I don't know, it contributed to giving me the feeling that these moments that we share are meaningful for some of you, and I'm very grateful for this. Now, this Sarabande from the fourth suite. Remember, as we have seen in the first, second, third suite, is that Bach likes to explore different kinds of Sarabandes, and to show us and to not explore but exploit, to use with incredible invention the different types of Sarabande. So the first suite, remember, always the attraction between first and second beat. In the second suite, we had a combination of the first and second beat and the first and second bar. 1, 2, and the second bar, which didn't have an important second beat. Well, I jumped now to this one, to the fourth suite, because this is the first one that, and actually the only one in all 6 suites that uh, gives emphasis mainly on this relationship between two bars as opposed to the relationship between two beats. So the first bar doesn't at all emphasize the second beat. On the contrary, as you can see, we really go towards the second bar. And as you can notice, also in the second bar, it is not an emphasize, it is not a very heavy second beat. On the contrary, it is, we may not emphasize it for a very simple reason, is that the second beat is the resolution of and so it will be by essence more of a release. So as you can see in this one, Bach really puts aside this idea that the second beat is the most important beat in the Sarabande. Let me play the first phrase and then I will comment on some of the things that seem to me very important events. So what do we have here? We have first, as I said, exposed this first bar going to the second bar, gesture that Bach repeats afterwards. So here, first bar, and he repeats this gesture. But the wonderful thing is that this time, the second bar where we expect now, well, we have this, but actually this punctuation, this dotted note, will be this time around the beginning of something that will become actually our main material, which is going to be this line going in dotted rhythm. So now we are installed in this new groove, in this new movement, and with this, Bach will construct a phrase. And I find already there, I am taken by the emotion of this wonderful idea to give us in the second bar a little hint of what could become something. But here it seems to be, and 2 bars later, it's only on the way to something else. And I find wonderful how the subtlety of this construction of phrase. I want to talk about 2 bowing issues before I go on in the piece. First of all, a little detail about the bowing at the beginning, because many of my students and even of my colleagues ask me, how can you start down bow and separate the last note? Well, for years I've been playing like many people do, which I sometimes also do again, and also in the repeat I do it. Well, the fact is that for me, I like to set immediately at the beginning the relationship between the first and second bar, and I find that it's I like this beginning to be actually quite frank and not hesitating. And very often, by essence, when we start a bow, it has this sort of quality where it comes from nowhere. It is also a possibility. It is also beautiful. It is something that I enjoy to do in different ways, and therefore the first time I like to play more openly, and in the repeat I get to play the bow and more subtle, maybe I'll call it that way. That's one little detail. The next thing is about this punctuated rhythm. For years, I had been struggling, and I see my students also. They are most of the time there where I was when I was their age and their place. We struggle with this punctuated rhythm because they tend to sometimes, I would say, kill the flow of the music. We want to give attention to these punctuations, and then the thing starts to be very beaty, and we lose the flow of the music by the bar. So basically, the music is going. So you should first of all try to impregnate yourself of these main notes and the flow that they have, how the phrase is actually flowing. And then these little notes, the 16th notes, make them much less important, much less, they are on the way to the other note. And that means also technically, what's very helpful is if you realize them, I mentioned this for other movements already, but don't do them with the arm, do them with the finger. So if that's what your arm is going to do, I don't know how much you can see that through the camera, but so that's going to be a great help. If you do it with the arm, that's where it's starting to be a new initiative, and a new initiative will be in the way of the line of the flow of the music. That's a very important point. The next point I want to make is that here there is a debate amongst cellists. Some cellists, because we have to go and play this chord here, will not replay the A flat, and because they think it is implicitly there. So we can. Well, I used to do it like this when I was a student, and then guess what happened? You'll be surprised. I played it for Anna Belsma. So yeah, those of you who follow this workshop, they know that I talk about Anna all the time. So, and he said, no, you absolutely need to come back to this note because all through this note, which is with the slur over the bar line, the most important moment of this note is actually on the downbeat. So he was absolutely affirmative that you had to replay this note. I will now go to the second part to the B part of the Sarabande. So we start with the same idea that we had at the beginning, but this time, of course, the harmony of the second bar is not. Is the harmony that is a modulation, but that mainly is like a question mark. This kind of modulation that says, and then we come into C minor, and Bach creates a lot of passion in this C minor by giving us one chord on each quarter note, on each beat of the bar. meaning that actually the bass is going to move on each beat, which is the first time for this, because you remember so far we have always had the bass would only play one long note in the bar. So, and that's how we start the second half. One note in the bass, and then very different. Again here the bass goes contrary motion. So Bach created urgency, he created motion, and I would say yes, passion, by having the bass being more active. And then here, hemiola, important. Now again, our main motive with one note in the bass, but you see in a very expressive way, we are quite high in the register. Now I love particularly this passage. Why? I will tell you why. Because this combination, this way the soprano goes is highly expressive. And in the first part, if you remember, we had a similar expressive, exactly actually the same kind of intervals, but one bit later, so we had this, but arriving on the downbeat. And this time we arrive on the third beat. And now we arrive again to our concluding motif that we had in the first part, where the bass is going again by the bar, and our rhythm, our main motive is staying in an ostinato. Yeah, so those of you who are cellists are saying, what is he doing? He's not playing the text. I am not, because I wanted to make a point. This is, again, one of these genius strokes of Bach. So the first time around, we finish there. Yeah, we finish at this point. This is our final cadence. Now, Bach is going to give us something which is actually probably the most touching moment of this whole sarabande as an extra, where the final cadence should have been. That's where it's going to happen. So I have to play. Still everything as expected. And then he puts this C in the downbeat instead of E flat. Our bass goes down to again a diminished chord, which is I let you decide if it's questioning or supplicating. And now you see my melody is getting very expressive, going up and down, and with tritonus. I'm going very much up with the main voice and still going chromatically down with the bass. our final cadence. What an what a compelling piece. A last little tip for those of you who play this piece out there is that this is something I mentioned in some other movements that, but I think this is like a quite an archetypal example for this. That this is in these moments where Bach is taking us out of the way, out of what we expect, out of normal, and telling us there is something, there is beyond the end, there is something very, very special. This is where, when you do repeat, you have the chance to really explore these very special harmonies in very different ways. The fact is, they are, these harmonies, very expressive. And expressive can be so it can be that you want to sing for the word very generous way, but it could be also wow, sorry that I'm singing so much, but it was the only way for me to show how I think in terms of timing. I think from the moment you recognize that this is very, very, very special and you give it your attention, there are very different ways. There is a whole palette of ways to express in your playing this attention, this love that you have for this passage, this care. So, and now has the moment has come to welcome our guest Alexandra. Dear Alexandra, are you there? Can you join us in
Yes.
this discussion?
Hello,
Oh,
Jean-Guihen.
hello, dear
Hello.
Alexandra. Thank you so much, dear Alexandra, for taking the time to be with us
It's a
today.
pleasure.
It's wonderful. If I may, I will tell our viewers how I had the privilege to meet you quite a few years back
Yes.
now, when you invited me to play in your festival in the Bach Festival in Montreal. And you invited me to play the Bach cycle, the whole suite. And of course, anyways, I was looking forward very much, of course, to playing this, because each time I have a chance to make this journey with these Bach suites, I feel my heart opens and everything. And also there is a little of autobiography, personal note, because I was born in Montreal, I have family there, a very close family, and have many friends there, and I am very attached to still, even though I left Montreal when I was 5 years old, I still feel very attached to it and to its culture, to its multicultural richness and density. And of course, as a French speaker, I am very moved each time I hear Québécois, because I think it's so expressive and so rich. So all of these reasons made that I knew I was going to look forward to this concert. But what I experienced that night was way above anything I had expected, and it is one of my milestones in my journey with the Bach suites. If I had to, if people tell me, give me 3 concerts with the Bach suites, there is the concert in your festival, there is the concert in the Palau de la Música in Barcelona, and well, they are the 2 that first comes to my mind. And the reason I think at that time your festival, you will tell me if I was wrong, but I think at that time your festival was still quite young. It was not
Yes.
so many years exactly, but there was already, you had managed to create a true effervescence, like this festival was a family already. That this audience, this packed audience in the Pollack Hall, um, was you could feel that this was already a family, and I think it is. There are probably many factors. You might have some explanations to it. I see that first of all, you and your team have from the beginning have given all your soul and all your culture and knowledge into making fantastic programs. And also there is this Quebecois generosity. There is this open-heartedness and this will to connect, and including to connect through music. So this is how I experienced that evening. Now we actually never had the time to talk so much about it since then. But now I tell you, this is how I experience it. This is how I try to explain why it was so special. But I would love to have your view on this, considering also that you have had probably since then and maybe before. I don't know if it was your first Bach cycle, but I know that at least since then you have had many others, including, of course, with our giant Yo-Yo Ma just last year, just very recently. So so what do you make of? Sorry for this long introduction, dear Alexandra, but I thought I had to talk about this.
No, I mean, for sure, the Bach suites are also huge milestones for our festival, because I think when you came, that was in 2010, and we founded the festival 2005. But at the beginning, the festival took place only every 2 years. So it actually indeed took us 5 years to have the first cello suite cycle. And I still remember this. Also, I had a CD. I think you just did a recording before. And I was like very excited, thought, okay, we'll do this. And there were some people who told me, yes, but you want to do all 6 suites on one evening in one concert. Isn't that a little much? And I thought, no, I mean, this has to be, it's going to be amazing. But I have to say, it really was for us a milestone, because we did not expect that this was such like this concert. First of all, it was the first sold out concert ever in the Bach Festival. And we had because we did for our very first festival, we had Musica Antiqua Köln coming, but of course we started with nothing, and it did take a few years to have kind of a public. But for this concert, it was the first time that it was sold out, and you did a masterclass before, I think. True. Also.
Yes, at the conservatory.
And there was already a little like a buzz, but I have to say, all 6 suites, the atmosphere, and now I can say this not from your point of view, but from the point of view of the public, it was really special, memorable, and people were mesmerized. And also the quietness in the hall, and there was really a kind of an electricity. So whoever was in this concert, if I meet somebody who's been to and it's 10 years ago, people still talk about it. And for the festival, it was really a milestone, because this was something everybody talked about after, and it really helped the festival to then after grow more. And so it was so these Bach suites, your Bach suites, were very, very important factor for the following years, where we were very lucky to have then Philipp Herwig and Collegium Vocale Gent to come, and Akamos came, and there were like Tomana, the Tomana choir from Leipzig. Mm-hmm. We were like very lucky that we had these moments. But again, a huge milestone in the festival was, as you mentioned, again with the cello suites. And that was, so we had in 2015 a young cellist, Isang Enders, who came and had a really very, very beautiful concert in a church. Because that's what I love so much also about this repertoire. You can do it in all different kind of, in halls and churches. It's like, and the public just really, they love it, because the cello somehow speaks to them. It's like, one can tell that these pieces, it's something that is very, very universally loved. Like from a point of view of a festival director, I didn't expect this, but it's really, whenever we program the cello suites, it's very special. And so we were like very, very lucky that it was 2016 that Yo-Yo Ma agreed to come to do the cello suites. And that time he did, I think, 4, 5, and 6. And it was in the Maison Symphonique in Montreal, huge, huge concert hall, and 2,000 people come in there. And we even had to have chairs on the stage because the concert was sold out and people really, really, it was like crazy. And then you have one cellist in this huge hall. And again, like the atmosphere, and also very, very memorable. And he came back in 2018 to do the whole cycle. In his kind, it was also like amazing concert, and it was a little bit in Yo-Yo Ma's crazy way of doing all 6 suites with no pause, like not one pause. So, and I was of course worried about him, but I was actually also very worried about the public because I was afraid people would maybe in between walk out or something because that people are not used to. But as you say, again, the public here in Quebec and Montreal is very special, very dedicated. And we, of course, informed people. They knew it's going to be the whole cycle, no pause, no problem. No, nobody left the hall or it was no commotion. So you're absolutely right when you say like Montreal is a special place.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
so
sorry, Alexandra. Yes, you want to.
no, the thing is that it always takes us a few years, like after your concert in 2010, it took us 5 years to program the suites again, but that was probably also because this concert was so very special. And then we had Yo-Yo Ma 2016 and 18, and I'm very, very happy that we have in this strange year 2020 also programmed the cello suite with a very talented great cellist from Montreal, Stéphane Tétrault.
Oui, Stéphane. Yeah, wonderful. Yes.
So this is very nice. It's just we don't really. It looks like as if the festival this year we will probably not be able to have public. So right now the halls are closed for sort of half or a few festival concerts. We don't know what happens after, but anyway, we have created a streaming platform, Quebec Baroque. So we are planning to have the festival so the concerts will take place live, but probably, unfortunately, without public this year.
Okay, but at least for the people watching us, so that means they can follow the festival online then on live
Yes.
feed. Do you just sorry for this little practical parenthesis, but people have to buy tickets to watch online, or is it a free viewing, or do you
Yes,
have?
it's pay-per-view and it's on quebecbaroque.com. And there's all the informations and all the concerts from the festival that you are be able to stream.
Great, fantastic, and I can only very, 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 very highly recommend everybody to go and have a look
Yes,
and
I
because
have to say normally, of course, the highlight of also all our work for a whole year. I mean, of course it's meeting the artists and meeting really interesting people, having great music being performed, but it's also a big part the public. Of course, we do all this for the public, and it's always a big moment. Normally for me, first concert, like the opening concert, and the public comes in and they're very excited, and then in the pause they talk about the concert, and after they leave with a huge smile and they had a great time. It's really a privilege to work for something that makes people so happy. So of course, as it is for the musicians now, a very, very difficult time for the arts in general, of course, and we will really miss the live public. So we hope that people take advantage of joining us in a different way this year. And it's very nice to hear, though, also a lot of positive comments of people who are in France or in the United States, and they say, "Oh, great, Festival Bach, we can follow you somehow." So there's always some nice opportunities coming.
That's so wonderful you say that, Alexandra. I totally agree that of course we we all want anyway to look what which doors can be opened maybe through these really, of
Yeah.
course, the very dark times and everything, but and probably you're right that many people who would from other parts of the world will maybe have even more of a chance to discover your festival because of this live streaming, because
Yes.
of this
In general,
and
discovering streaming, because there are people who are sick or old or far away. I mean, it's a kind of way to bring the music to people. And for the future, it would be maybe great to do both, you know.
you
So it will
speak.
never, of
Yeah,
course, replace a regular concert, you know,
exactly. No, but I
especially if there's
totally.
no public.
Yes, yes, exactly. So I was mentioning at the beginning of the workshop now that I had there was this little window where we could give some concerts in Europe,
Yes.
and I was happy to, and I must say, of course, that each concert was such an emotion, to come on stage, to hear people clap, and because they want to clap, they want to be there, they want to,
Yeah.
even though they could not be very close to each other, with the separations, but still. So it is clear. I think we all agree on this that we need our live audience to be back as soon as the
Exactly.
situation will allow it. But probably you are right that it could be it could become a model for the future, that we combine both, and that we have live concerts that we can share with. Of course, it existed, but I mean, maybe it will become more and more common, and
Yeah.
on in a very modest way, this series of workshop is also actually born from the time of confinement, and I'm very grateful for this experience. Alexandra, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your
Pleasure.
experience with the Bach suites, and I I think I look forward to watching um, many of your concerts myself, and I think everybody can look forward to that. Now that I will also, for a time, will have to pause from the concert live.
Yeah.
And Alexandra, I hope to see you, and I look forward to seeing you live in the next years when the situation got better.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you live in a concert, in a packed concert hall very
Thank
soon.
you so much, Alexandra. Toi, toi, toi for the festival, and thank you again for
Thank you very
taking the
much.
time. Dear friends, I don't really dare to say see you next week, because there have been too many things coming in between. But let's see soon again with the Bourrées from the Fourth Street, and I look forward to this next episode. And please, again, feel free to send me your questions, your comments, your disagreements about some of the choices that I make in interpretation. I find this give and take, this dialogue, very, very, very constructive and interesting. Thank you, everybody.